For many people, the word bankruptcy comes with fear, stigma, and a lot of unanswered questions. But the reality is often very different from what people expect. Bankruptcy isn't about failure. It's about protection and the opportunity to reset. Today, on The Domino Effect, we're joined by bankruptcy attorney Walter Benenati to clear up common misconceptions and explain how bankruptcy can help individuals and families regain control of their financial future. I'm your host, Charlene Stanford Green, and this is The Domino Effect, where community issues meet the systems that shape them. To begin, we're taking a closer look at how financial challenges affect individuals and families. And Walter Benenati is here to help us walk through how bankruptcy fits into that picture. His work focuses on helping people navigate difficult financial moments with clarity and care. Hi, Mr. Benenati, how are you?
How are you? Glad to be here.
Good. Thank you so much for being here. I am so excited to talk with you and learn so much about bankruptcy. So, to start, can you please tell us why people turn to bankruptcy as a relief for help?
People turn to bankruptcy for relief of help for a myriad of reasons. Namely, sometimes life kind of turns away where you don't expect it. And oftentimes it could be from a family member that lost their job, or somebody having a medical illness like cancer. And oftentimes you may be unemployed. Different reasons bring people to consider filing bankruptcy as a way of relieving themselves of debt. And it's something that we've been doing for almost 20 years, where clients, a lot of people assume that they're taking advantage and using their credit cards in a way where it shouldn't be used, but oftentimes it's from disadvantages that they're not even no fault of their own.
Oh, wow. So when we talk about bankruptcy, I know I've heard there's Chapter 7 and Chapter 13. Can you explain to us what the difference is?
Well, Chapter 7 is a 4-month process typically, where you're able to have an estate created where a trustee reviews your assets, and most oftentimes the only thing that you lose in a bankruptcy is your debt. Okay. In Florida, we're very grateful that we have the homestead exemption, where your house is protected for most people. In addition, there's exemptions for vehicles. So most oftentimes, the Chapter 7 process is a liquidation of debts through the government, and it's a 4-month process, which oftentimes most people qualify. It's based on income, and an experienced attorney can go over those options and determine whether bankruptcy is the best option for them.
Oh, wow. Okay, so a 4-month process, that sounds like it's not that long then.
It's not. There's a lot of misconceptions about bankruptcy, and oftentimes as attorneys, we have to compete with companies like that offer debt settlement programs. People, you may hear them late at night saying they have a secret the creditors don't want you to know. And a lot of these companies take advantage of a lot of people that should be filing bankruptcy, because sometimes the last option is the best option. Mm-hmm. This process is a 4-month process, and oftentimes it's for the price of 1 month's rent, where you're able to discharge all your credit card debt, which is something that is an albatross for a lot of clients, and sometimes puts them in a position where it could medically make them feel ill from having these debts, where they don't want to face phone calls, right, the mail, and it causes problems in families. Financial problems are the #1 reason people file divorce.
Wow, that's so interesting. What about a Chapter 13 bankruptcy? Can you explain what that is?
Absolutely. A Chapter 13 is a reorganization of debt through the federal government that's typically from 3 to 5 years. Okay. And it's one of those areas of law that a lot of people that don't practice bankruptcy are not aware of the things that you can do in a bankruptcy. In a Chapter 13, most oftentimes the people that file bankruptcy, it's because their their income is over a certain threshold. So they have to be able to be in a 5-year plan where they pay back some of their debt. But oftentimes in Chapter 13s, we're able to catch up their mortgage. People that are about to lose their homes, people that are facing foreclosure can turn to Chapter 13 as a way out. Oftentimes we can cram down the value of their upside down vehicle in Chapter 13. There's just a lot of things that we're able to do. We've been very successful at at bringing down the value of your solar panels, getting rid of solar panels. So Chapter 13 is typically a 3 to 5 year plan where you get your discharge at the completion of the 5 year plan, as opposed to a Chapter 7 that only is 4 months.
Okay, and some people may be wondering whether or not as an individual they can file either of those, or does it have to just be a business? Can you tell us the difference?
Absolutely. It's really based on a variety of factors, mainly income.
Okay.
There's also loopholes that if the majority of your debt is business related, we are seeing a substantial increase in the number of people that own a franchise, for example, small businesses, truckers. Truckers are getting decimated right now in this economy. These people, they may be making good money, but a lot of their debt is from an SBA loan or some type of business loan they acquired. And if the majority of your debt is business related, then you too can file a 4-month process of a Chapter 7. So an experienced attorney can kind of go over all the options of whether Chapter 7 or Chapter 13 is available to them.
Oh, wow. And how long have you been practicing bankruptcy?
I've been practicing bankruptcy for over 18 years.
Wow.
And the reason why I got into it is because I too filed bankruptcy in 2008. I had just finished going through law school, and my parents had both passed away. And
wow.
I was, I was living off credit cards, frankly. And I was in a position where I was working for a company, a debt settlement company, that they were taking advantage of people. And I was a contracted attorney from them. And I never forget when one time I met with a gentleman. He was 83 years old. His wife, elderly as well, had breast cancer.
Oh.
And they had about $46,000 to $50,000 of debt. And I just thought to myself, why are you paying $800 a month to this debt settlement program? You're completely have no assets. You're using all your Social Security money to pay this debt. You should file bankruptcy. And that's what got me going into bankruptcy. In 2009, when the economy went down, that's when we really started ramping up and helping people in Central Florida file bankruptcies. And our slogan is "Life has a restart button." And the reason is because we really believe that.
Wow, that's amazing and so, so true. Can you explain to us what assets can be protected when you're filing bankruptcy?
Well, like I said, in Florida, we do have the homestead exemption. So there are rules as to how long you've owned the home and how much equity you have in the home if it's less than 3 years. But for the most part, most people are able to protect their house, vehicles. Most people are making payments on cars. So cars are inconsequential to the trustee. It's only when a vehicle is a paid-off vehicle and there's a lot of equity is when we, as attorneys, negotiate with the trustee to make sure that the client keeps their vehicle. And that's what we do. Other things that are protected, a lot of people ask me, are they going to come to my house and look through my stuff?
Right.
And normally that doesn't happen, especially here in Central Florida. You really rarely see a situation where a trustee will send an auctioneer into a house to inspect the contents. So there's a lot of misconceptions. There's always been a negative stigma attached to bankruptcy that I grew up with as 50 years old. I remember it was looked at as, wow, you're filing bankruptcy. But for the most part, I believe that negative stigma is gone. And this is an opportunity for people in any kind of financial issues to seek out an attorney to at least know all your options. I would say 3 out of 5 people, I don't recommend filing bankruptcy.
Okay.
Oftentimes I'm able to help them in other ways. But there are people that there's just no other way to turn other than getting a fresh start.
Wow. And why do you think there has been that negative stigma you talk about that's maybe decreased over time?
Well, back in the early 80s and the 70s, the bankruptcy, if you filed bankruptcy, there were no debit cards. There were no ATM cards. So if you wanted to rent a car or get an airplane reservation, you weren't able to.
Right.
But obviously now we have debit cards. And when you file a bankruptcy, you keep your debit card. You're still able to maintain relationships and rent cars and do all the things that everybody does. Oftentimes you're able to get a credit card within 6 months from filing. You can buy a house within 2 years of filing a bankruptcy. We help our clients after filing their bankruptcy in ways that they can improve their credit score dramatically and very quickly. Now, I don't recommend bankruptcy for people that are taking advantage of the system and running up credit cards.
Right.
But oftentimes people do that because they just have nowhere to turn. There's so many people that use credit cards to pay for their lights. to pay for their rent. These are people that they get into a hole that they just can't climb out of, and we're able to help them get a fresh start.
Wow, okay, that's awesome. So I want to learn more about what you do and how you mentioned about people working on their credit score and how they can improve that. So we're going to go ahead and come back, stay with us. I want to learn more about what you're doing, and we're going to take a quick break, and then when we return, we'll continue breaking down how bankruptcy works and what people should know about moving forward.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty.
Welcome back to the Domino Effect. We're continuing our conversation with bankruptcy attorney Walter Benenati. Now, Walter, what about families that are experiencing poverty? How can bankruptcy benefit them?
Well, certainly when you're experiencing poverty, the first thing to go is your unsecured debt, credit cards. You're in a position where you really can't pay them. And what bankruptcy can do is they can wipe that out so you can focus on improving your situation. We've been very thankful and grateful that we've been able to work with the Orange County Legal Aid here in Central Florida for so many years and offer our services pro bono to people that are unable to pay for bankruptcy. Recently, they gave us an award, a pro bono champion award, for our services for the last 15 years with them.
That's
so
amazing.
Going through poverty and something that I, when I was growing up, certainly money was, you weren't able to get everything you want.
Right.
But if you're able to go through a process where you can wipe these debts out, it gives you a sense of hope to be able to keep moving up in the future, you and your family.
Right, almost like hitting that reset button that you know that there's a chance.
Yeah, I trademarked that.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why you're here, right?
Yes,
specifically,
absolutely.
You just mentioned about unsecured debt. So are there debts when you're filing bankruptcy that can be discharged, such as child support or student loans? Can you tell us about that?
Child support cannot be discharged.
Okay.
And there is also, oftentimes we help people that have licenses that they've lost due to a car accident. But if the car accident was something that occurred, not something that they intentionally made happen, it just was an accident, we can certainly discharge those debts as well and get people's licenses back. A lot of people don't know that bankruptcy is able to get you to be able to drive again. If oftentimes you're involved in an accident and you were unable to pay the debt, those type of things. Student loans, for example, right now, there's been a lot of different legislation, a lot of things that have been happening, where it's making it a little bit easier to be able to discharge student loans, but there's still a process in a bankruptcy where you have to go above and beyond just filing a bankruptcy, where a lawsuit, if you will, is filed against the Department of Education to try to discharge student loans. So it's not super easy, but it's something that as the years are going, people are starting to realize that student loans are certainly a large difficulty that people are facing. One thing that's really important to note is that I believe that there's going to be a large increase in filings of bankruptcy in the next year because they were about to start doing wage garnishments for student loans. The good thing is that just recently they decided to postpone that under this administration. But if it resumes, you're going to see a plethora of people that are going to be in a situation where they haven't been paying their student loans under the previous administration. And now, since they're not being able to pay for their student loans, their wages are going to get garnished by the government. So that's something that we're really concerned about, and it's going to show a marked increase from the year before filing.
Oh my goodness. So you just mentioned about the increase in filings. Have you seen any trend in that recently with filing bankruptcies?
Certainly. In the last 12-month period, there was over 557,000 bankruptcies filed in the country. In Florida alone, there was 40,000 cases filed in the last 12-month period, as opposed to the previous 12-month period, which was 32,000. That's a 23% increase in filings of bankruptcy. People are starting to realize that this is a tool that they can proactively go out and seek in order to get a fresh start. So I certainly believe that the next year is just going to keep increasing.
Wow, so just over time, that number will probably continue to rise and go up.
Absolutely.
With your law firm specifically, can you tell us about the services you provide? And I want to know about the Hispanic population that also may need assistance.
Absolutely. I am actually partly Hispanic, and I do speak Spanish fluently, as well as a lot of my staff. There's a lot of people that they moved from Puerto Rico to Orlando. Orlando is one of the largest groups of Puerto Ricans in the country, next to New York. And we're able to help people that come over, people that are that speak Spanish, that don't feel comfortable with somebody that doesn't speak their language. Right. We're able to help them in bankruptcy get a fresh start. Oftentimes my clients they don't trust lawyers. And we're able to speak to them in their language and make them realize, look, we're here to help you, we're here to guide you and to help you get that fresh start.
Okay, well, that's amazing that you're able to offer those services, especially when someone culturally can relate to your staff and feel a sense of, just belonging and knowing they can trust you and what you're saying. Can you talk to us about, speaking about, the Puerto Rican population, what about other cultures, those that may be West Indian or those that may be of a different background? Can you speak to that?
One of the reasons I advertise my bankruptcy services is I feel that I need to educate people that maybe were raised in a different culture that looked at bankruptcy as the worst thing you can do. I feel very, very happy that I'm able to let people know, hey, look, this is not going to be the end of you.
Right.
You're going to be able to bounce back. And there are cultures that look at bankruptcy as that negative stigma we talked about. Mm-hmm. So part of what I do is educating the public that this is an opportunity for you to change your life. We have so many baby boomers that are filing with us that are helping adult children. And while they're helping their adult children, they're suffering because they're getting into debt. So we're able to help them enjoy their golden years in peace. There's so many people that really can benefit from bankruptcy, and at least just to get a consultation, a free private consultation, so they can understand what their options are.
Okay, awesome. I was going to ask that if someone's interested in filing bankruptcy and they have questions, if they contact your office, you said there is a free consultation available to them?
Certainly, and our phone number is all sevens. It's 407-7777. So you can't forget that number.
Okay.
But we certainly help people every day, people from all walks of life. And I always tell people, when people ask me, what's my demographic? And I tell them everybody. Because everybody at some point in their life has experienced financial problems.
Right.
And this is an opportunity to say, you know what, I'm going to proactively take approach to my problems, not bury my head in the sand, and look to see how I can better myself and help me and my family.
Right, and that's so true, especially I call it like the ostrich syndrome. If I just put my head in the sand, things will just get better. But in reality, the problem still exists and it doesn't go away.
It doesn't go away.
How do you encourage folks that are, not really that comfortable with moving forward and they may be a little bit on the fence about their next steps?
Well, in this today's generation, sometimes people don't want to talk to somebody. Mm-hmm. So we text, we'll email, we'll tell you, hey, we're going to be able to help you. We can do everything by phone. We're very fortunate in the Orlando Middle District that we're able to have even the hearing with the trustee by Zoom. So you don't even have to go to court.
Wow.
So these are things that they're realizing that it's going to bring more people to be able to get assistance. And oftentimes when clients call us for the first time, we tell them, you just accomplished the hardest part, is asking for help.
Right. Often it's said the first part, getting started, is like the most challenging, right?
Yes.
Exactly. Now, what about people that are wanting to come to your office in person and they're not, maybe the elder population, are not comfortable with Zoom or technology? Where are your offices and where are they located that folks can come visit you?
Certainly. We have an office on Robinson Street, right there near east of downtown Orlando, as well as an office in Kissimmee, right by the Osceola Courthouse. And these two offices, we have clients that come in and bring us cupcakes.
Aww,
people that are so
sweet.
They're so happy that we were able to get them that fresh start so they can achieve a feeling of peace. Debt if you've ever had creditors calling you, or somebody suing you for a debt, it's just a very traumatic moment. And bankruptcy is one of those moments in life where you're like, oh my gosh, right there up with divorce, death of a family member.
Right.
So we, as attorneys, as paralegals, as all my experienced assistants, we focus on trying to make a person feel comfortable, respected, and we're empathetic. And of course, I'm empathetic because I've been in their shoes and I've been through it.
Right. You directly understand what they're going through because you've been there yourself. So
yes, I have.
That's so important. And stay with us. I have a few more questions for you. So we're going to go ahead and take another quick break. And when we return, we'll take a look at what comes after bankruptcy, the next steps. Stay tuned. In this final part of our conversation, we're focusing on what comes next after bankruptcy and how people can begin moving forward. Now, Walter, when someone's completed the bankruptcy process, what does that next phase typically look like for him or her?
Well, oftentimes when a client has filed bankruptcy with us and they realize, wow, my credit report is zeroed out. There are no debts anymore. You may still have your house on there, but for the most part, a lot of people look at their credit reports and they see these zero balances. Well, oftentimes there's a whole cottage industry that's been created that try to solicit these people into applying for new debts, new loans, because they are actually less of a credit risk than you or me, because they can't file bankruptcy for another 8 years. So I try to educate my clients into not applying for credit so quickly or trying to get loans. Oftentimes, there are people that will file bankruptcy 8 years later because they got into debt again. And that kind of dispels the notion that you can't get another credit card or you can't get another loan after bankruptcy. That's simply not true. So we try to let our clients know certainly ways you can improve your credit score, but not to focus so much on your credit score, because ultimately, why apply for debt when you don't need it?
Right.
So there's ways that you can improve your credit quickly, but you have to be very careful that you don't get into debt again and have to file bankruptcy again. The bankruptcy laws allow you to file every 8 years. The bankruptcy actually appears on your credit report for 10 years.
Okay.
But the negative impact of having a bankruptcy on your credit report diminishes after a year to 2 years. So oftentimes I tell my clients, do not get into debt. Try to not get into debt. Don't apply for credit cards. If there is a pre-approved credit card that comes your way from a Capital One, for example, you can do it.
Yeah.
But there are credit cards that are predatory, that you will apply for them and immediately you'll have to pay an acceptance fee, an annual fee. Those are fee harvester predatory credit cards that try to solicit people that have recently filed bankruptcy.
So what do you tell your clients then when they're getting that in the mail and they're kind of tempted to, oh, I'm going to just apply for just one and it looks so, glamorous? What do you suggest that they do?
I suggest they get a secured credit card.
Okay.
And if they can accumulate $300 to $400, maybe $500, put it on a secured credit card, use that credit card, it will report to the credit bureaus, it will boost your credit score quickly. There's also what's called a shared secured loan that I advise my clients to get after a bankruptcy in a credit union that really increases credit score. And it's something that I did personally when I filed. But for the most part, there's so many companies out there that will send you letters. They'll send you letters to say, hey, join this credit repair company now that you filed bankruptcy so we can watch your credit. So there's a lot of scams out there after filing a bankruptcy that hopefully your attorney can tell you, hey, stay away from this. What I do is I tell my clients, email me what you received and I will let you know if it's legit.
You can take a look at it and review it to make
And
sure
we
if
do
it's
that.
something. Right, that's so helpful. That's very kind of you as well. So how does it affect then the credit, housing, future employment for someone that filed? And you said that you'd have to wait 8 years if you had to unfortunately file again. But what does it look like from the credit perspective?
Well, an experienced attorney, after practicing for so many years, knows what may affect their, for example, employment. Oftentimes, people with security clearances may have to file a Chapter 13. We have Lockheed Martin, we have Boeing, we have Pratt & Whitney. A lot of companies that if you have a security clearance, they may have to file a different type of bankruptcy than the bankruptcy Chapter 7, which only is 4 months. There's oftentimes, if what I tell clients is check with your human resources, but it's very rare that you'll find a company that will say you shouldn't file bankruptcy or you're going to lose your job. I represent realtors, law enforcement, insurance brokers, everybody under the sun, and I rarely see a situation where somebody has lost their job. As far as buying a house,
Right.
I let clients know that you're going to have to wait 2 years after a bankruptcy to be approved for a home loan through a mortgage broker. VA only requires 1 year of seasoning after a bankruptcy. So there's different rules on that. But oftentimes, with the interest rates where they are, oftentimes clients will say, well, I'm not looking to rent for the next year. And I'll ask them, if you're looking to buy a house in the next year or two, you may want to avoid filing bankruptcy.
Right, exactly. Just having a game plan and then looking to the future, what steps they need to take. And that differs case by case, of course.
Strategically, we want to make sure that if you're going to be filing, especially a Chapter 13, in the next 5 years, is there somebody that's going to be going to college? Are they going to be needing student loans? I talk to clients all the time to make sure that this is what they're going to be going through, what they're going to be signing up for in a Chapter 13. Chapter 7, it's a 4-month process, so oftentimes you're able to bounce back from that even quicker. The good thing with a Chapter 13, it only reports for 7 years on your credit report, as opposed to 10 in a Chapter 7.
Oh, so it's a longer reporting period if you do the Chapter 7.
It is, but the negative impact, it diminishes, especially if you're earning an income. You are able to get a car right after the bankruptcy is over. I have lenders that we refer them to that can help them get into a vehicle 4 months right after a bankruptcy. So there's misconceptions that says I will not be able to get a car, I can't get a credit card. Those are simply not true.
Not true. And a lot of people don't know that unless they consult an experienced attorney who practices in bankruptcy and knows what they're doing and can really lead them and tell them the accuracy of the law. So that's so crucial. What about when someone files bankruptcy and then afterwards, are there any type of mandatory budgeting courses they have to do or financial literacy classes that are required for them to take?
Yes, there's a 20-minute pre-filing course, a credit counseling course, and there's a debtor education course that tries to let them know, hey, this is what you should do going forward. These two courses are still required by the Federal Bankruptcy Code. They were enacted back in when the laws changed in 2005. But I let clients know that are concerned, oh my God, is this a test? Am I going to pass or fail it? A lot of people haven't taken a test since high school.
Long time.
So I tell them there's no pass or fail component. There's no right or wrong answers. You give them kind of information, and it's really informational, but it's just the credit counseling course that you can do online in 20 minutes.
Okay, so there is some help there for them, for next steps. Now, for you personally, I know that you have done a lot of pro bono work here in the community, especially with Legal Aid Society. So I personally thank you for all of your efforts and your dedication to that. Can you just share with us what really fuels your passion and why you continue doing that work?
Well, I think I've always had an eye for helping people that are struggling. When I was growing up, I was raised in South Florida. I majored in public administration because I going to a predominantly black middle school, black high school. I saw the disparity when I go into my friend's house. I saw the neighborhoods that were neglected by the city, and people that are always struggling. I've always tried to help people in every facet of my career from when I started. So bankruptcy for me is the ultimate way that I can help every segment of society that is struggling with their debts. And you could be any race, creed, it doesn't matter, any culture. Everybody goes through hard times, whether it's from medical illness, loss of job, underemployment. When you have 2 kids and they're going to soccer practice or sports, there's so many things that you're paying for, that you're unable to keep up with your bills, and we're able to help these people.
Wow, and I know that it personally fulfills you so much, and you'll continue that mission.
It does.
Now, for anyone that's watching and they want to get information how to contact your law firm, what should they do?
Well, they can go to 407bankrupt.com, 407bankrupt.com, or they can just Google my name, Walter Benenati. Even if it's spelled wrong, they'll find me.
They'll be able to find you.
Our slogan, like I said, has been "Life has a restart button," and we're very fortunate that we are, in essence, one of the go-to places to be able to get a fresh start. Our number's 407 all sevens. We have 352 all sevens, 863 all sevens, 689 all sevens. So if you dial sevens, you're probably going to find us.
Going to get able to reach
Yes.
you. Yeah, that's awesome. So I want to thank you personally for taking the time out of your schedule to be here today and speak with us. I know I've learned so much personally, so I am sure that our viewers are also gaining so much insight and wisdom from you. So I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us here today.
I'm glad to help.
Yeah, that's awesome. At the heart of these conversations is the belief that understanding the law shouldn't feel out of reach, especially when people are facing life-changing decisions. I'm Charlene Stanford Green, and this is The Domino Effect. Thank you for watching.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty.
For over 60 years, the Legal Aid Society has provided legal representation to clients on issues like those discussed in today's episode. Our mission is to ensure that every member of our community, regardless of income, has access to high-quality legal support and justice. If you're facing a legal issue, don't hesitate to reach out to the Legal Aid Society of the Orange County Bar Association by calling 407-841-8310. As a nonprofit law firm, we rely on dedicated volunteers and generous donations to continue our work. To learn how you can get involved, visit legalaidocba.org. Thank you for watching The Domino Effect. And remember, perpetual goodness goes a long way. Until next time.